Any person who is not an applicant or agent that wishes to speak will need to fill out a speaker's card, locate it on the side table by the door, and then turn them in to the clerk. Each member of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak on each item. Please refrain from speaking from the audience. Applause or cheering will not be allowed. Please silence your cell phones. We have a roll call, please.
John Warren.
Here.
Owen Curley.
Here.
Jeff Trular. Todd Smith.
Here.
Jennifer Williams.
Here.
Matt Metz.
Here.
Laura Tierney.
Here.
Okay, next on our agenda is approval of 2 minutes for meeting minutes for 2 meetings. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the meeting for the last 2 meetings. Minutes of the last 2 meetings for March 5th, 2024 and April 2nd, 2024.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. Next is correspondence. Do we have any correspondence? No correspondence? We have no old business, so I will ask that we call the new business. Here you go.
I call case number BOA 24-100013, property address 3901 Ponte Vedra Boulevard. Motion to consider sections 34-336E1E for 39.7% lot coverage in lieu of 35% maximum for circular driveway and pool deck to a single-family dwelling for property address 3901 Ponte Vedra Boulevard, real estate number 181725-0000, legally described as Lot 8, Block P9, Ponte Vedra, Unit 2.
Okay, as a reminder, each member of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak when we open the public hearing. Does any board member have any ex parte communication?
I've had none.
I've had none.
I've none.
I've had none.
I've had none.
And I've had none. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in and give their presentation?
Pass this stuff out if you guys don't mind.
If you give us your photographs, then they become part of the record.
Are they different?
Fine.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Emily Pierce. My address is 1301 River Place Boulevard, and I'm representing the applicants. Tonight I have with me Cora Johnston and Gordon Stasax. They are from Generation Homes. They're the builders. And then I have the homeowners, Jay and Beth Finnegan. So the builders would be happy to answer any questions if you want to know about what happened between turning in the site plan for the property and actually the on-site things that they ran into when they got up there to build. But I'm going to just give you a quick rundown of what we have and what we're asking for. So we're requesting an increase in the lot coverage from 35% to 39.7%, and it's to accommodate a circular driveway and pool decking. And the increase basically was described to me as the difference between design and construction based on actual site conditions. The driveway wasn't engineered. This is a single-family home. So when they went out to the site, they realized they had some drainage areas that they needed to avoid. They also realized the original home on the site had a circular driveway. But this driveway, when they went to actually put it on the site, realized they could not accommodate trucks or large cars. Turning radius just needed to be widened. So that is the majority of the increase that we're asking for. It's 3.2% of the increase that we're asking for. And of course the driveway wasn't engineered, but on site they needed a wider turning radius. The pool decking, as drawn, would have resulted in a pool deck that actually wasn't usable. You couldn't put chairs out there, you couldn't put a small table. So the pool decking was increased, and it's roughly 1.2% or so of the request. The property is essentially at the corner of 3 busy roads. If you look at the aerial that I gave you, you see that we have Ponte Vedra Boulevard, Ponce de Leon Boulevard, and First Street South. So we have to have a circular driveway. It's not only for the safety of the residents of the house, but it's also for the safety of anybody going down Ponte Vedra, turning onto First, coming off of Ponce de Leon. It's a fairly blind corner because it's a turn. It's really for the safety of everybody that is going to travel those roads. You will see from the area that I gave you that the home, the driveway, the pool, and the patio are consistent in size and style with all the adjacent properties. And the property actually has more green space than what you see on many of the neighboring parcels, simply because it's widens as it goes back and there's a building restriction line. So you actually have a lot of green space on the back end of the property. Our builder was kind enough to pull together some information about some of the properties in the immediate area. And so that's that little chart that you see on the second page that I gave you. And you can see that based upon the lot size and size of the ground floor area of the home, it's most likely that pretty much most of the neighbors' properties actually exceed the 35%. We were able to pull up, unfortunately, when we turned in this variance application, it was also the same time that there was a glitch in the city's computer system, so we weren't able to pull up variances. There were two that the city staff knew about, so I put those on the list for you. So those were actually granted larger variances than what we had. I understand that variances are granted on a case-by-case basis, and they're based on the facts of each and every case. But I do think it's important to look at this house and this lot in the context of everything that is around it. The variance being requested is the minimum necessary to permit a reasonable use of the parcel. It allows for safe use of the driveway, a useful pool area, and it doesn't interfere with any of the neighbors. They have not heard any complaints. They get along great with their neighbors. There have been no complaints about anybody. The signs have been posted. Nobody said anything. Again, I pointed out it reserves much of the green space on the property. It happens to be that this is a funny, almost wedge-shaped parcel, so you actually save a lot of the green space along the water. The request meets all of the city's variance criteria. You have the city staff report which recommends approval, and we ask that you support the application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does any board members have any questions?
I'd like to know whether or not this is,
All right, come back up and answer the question.
it seems to me that at some level, the owner of this new structure,
Can you turn your mic on, please?
it seems to me that the owner of this new structure has created his own problem, and that would not allow for a hardship.
I would disagree. I think, again, a lot of it has to do with where the property is located. It has to have a circular driveway, and it's got to be a driveway that the prior building did have a circular driveway, but it wouldn't accommodate the turnaround of trucks and larger cars, and that's just kind of a fact of life of what we have now is larger cars. You will see from that chart that I gave you that this house is the same size or smaller than most of the houses in the neighborhood. So again, we're not asking for something that's different than what the neighborhood has, and the intent was not to exceed 35%. It happened when construction actually was going on, the home was being built. They realized that the driveway was not sufficient the way it was designed. Like I said, you don't engineer a driveway for a single-family home. So when they got to on-site and realized that they needed to adjust because of the width of the lot, the drainage, and then meeting the turnaround, that is the bulk of what created the problem.
Is the driveway as designed here, is this fitting the footprint of the prior existing driveway, or is this?
It's pretty close to the prior existing driveway.
So at the top, there was all the extra lot space, or all the extra concrete at the top?
So yeah, for the most part, it's now just, like I said, the turning radius is a little wider, and it's a little bit deeper. But yeah, it pretty much follows what the prior driveway had.
So if I could ask, when they determined that they needed more area coverage, why wasn't it addressed at that time before they laid the concrete?
They
It
didn't
sounds
re-
like this change was made already, and now we're asking
correct. It was made on site. The change was made on site, but it wasn't until we actually calculated the square footage of the home and all of the impervious surface that we realized we were over 35%. They didn't think that the changes that they made, they were so small that they were going to throw you over the 35%.
And the pool deck has been poured already, correct?
Yes, everything that, so the picture that you see, the aerial, that is the house as it stands now, with the pool, the deck, and the driveway.
So you're really not asking permission, you're asking for forgiveness.
We are asking for forgiveness, yes.
So that's what I thought. Thanks.
Out of curiosity, why did this not get addressed when you realized that you were gonna be oversized?
They didn't realize until they turned in the site plan
Final
for,
survey.
until they turned in the final survey. So the house was up and built and done, and then they turned in the final survey, and that's when we noticed that it was over.
I just have a hard time with a 25,000 square foot or 27,000 square foot lot, saying that's a hardship.
Well,
It's not self-created.
it's a big lot, but you'll see that the building restriction line comes a long way into the lot. Plus, it's narrow at the front, and then it widens out. So as I said, the house is of similar or smaller size than most of the other houses on the block. So we were hemmed in by the size of the lot. And I know it sounds like it's a big lot, but again, it's got a pretty heavy-duty building restriction line, and then its location.
I may have missed it, I'm sorry if I did, but did you say that the driveway design was changed after it got permitted, or was that design in the permitting stage?
So the original survey was turned in with the sketch of where the driveway was gonna go,
Okay,
and then it was modified on site. So it doesn't actually look any different. If you look at the sketch from what was turned in to the city to the sketch now, it honestly doesn't look any different. He's showing the back and forth between the two. That's the original sketch.
okay, and then the original sketch and everything laid out was at 34%?
Correct.
Okay,
And you see the original has the driveway, it has the pool decking. It just, when it ultimately was calculated, it exceeds it. And as I said, we're not asking for a huge exceedance. It's a pretty small one, but it is to cover what is out there.
Looking at the sketch on the screen, I know not everybody can maybe see it from where you're at, but I was kind of zoomed in. Is it each entrance or exit of the circular driveway is about 22 foot in width at the street and then narrows slightly as it approaches the home?
If you don't mind, I'd like to have our builder come up and answer that. Cora, this is Cora Johnston.
Do you mind being sworn in?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Cora M. Johnston, 5860 US Highway 1 North, St. Augustine.
I think you're good to answer that question.
You can go ahead.
Can you re-ask it again?
Yeah,
please?
absolutely. Just looking at the entrance and exit, either way you look at it from the circular driveway, at the road, it looks like it's about 22 feet wide. Is that correct? And then kind of narrows as it goes to the home?
Absolutely. There's the apron at the front of the street, and then we purposely narrowed it, to minimize the use of surface. But then when we were on site and we were laying out the driveway on site after the house was built and looking at how we could get cars in and out and vehicles, then that's when we enlarged that driveway area. I can assure you it was not purposeful, it was not blatant. We'd never come in and ask for forgiveness. We do it right generally the first time. This is such a huge piece of property that, it fooled us. Absolutely, it fooled us that we didn't have the room that we thought we had to build this driveway.
Can you speak to what the width is at the narrowest point going toward the home, and then what the depth is from the street side of the front yard to the home?
I can give you an approximation.
Sure.
I'm gonna ask Gordon to come up, he probably has a little bit more memory than I on that. We're probably maybe 12 feet at best, 12 feet in the narrowest place. Most parking places are 8 feet, I know that, so that just gives you a couple feet on either side to step off, out your door of your car onto a surface, rather than onto the grass.
And then the deep area between the front edge of the driveway and the home, that's necessary for the turnaround, is what you were saying?
Yes, sir, it is.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Do you have anything else for your presentation?
I don't. The only thing I would say is your questions about the driveway. We actually did a house in Jacksonville, and we just redid the driveway, and we had the exact same issue. My husband drives Ford Ranger, which is not a huge truck, and literally he kept trying to take out the hand railing on the porch. And so when we had the driveway done with pavers to avoid the trees and various other things, we ended up having to expand out that area so that we could actually make the turn. So.
Okay,
That's it.
anything
I'm
else?
available for questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
I will now open the public hearing. Do we have any speaker starts?
Yes. We have Emily Pierce.
That's me.
Oh, sorry, no. No, we don't.
Okay, seeing how we have no speaker's cards, is there anyone in the audience who has not yet filled out a speaker's card that wishes to speak? Okay, I will now close the public hearing and bring the item back to the board for discussion. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve BOA 24-100013. Based on the testimony and evidence provided, the request has met all the standards for variance as outlined in section 34-286 of the Land Development Code.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Potentially forgiveness, but it's not a lot of forgiveness, so.
It is forgiveness. It's not a lot of forgiveness. So I struggled with, on this one, the special circumstances and conditions that do not result from the actions of the applicant. So if we look at the traffic situation and the shape of the lot, we could create a special circumstance that's outside the and then meet the criteria. It is a massive lot. Even by their own chart, I mean, it exceeds the next nearest one by almost 2,000 feet. So,
One road's gonna go back there, right?
yeah, we have the roads, and that's a two-way road coming in there, so roads are way roads, so. Any other?
I think we would set a record if we approve this.
Set a record
Yeah.
for a variance on the largest lot ever.
Yeah, the longest one ever.
Debate. Okay, any other discussion? Anyone? Okay, can we get a roll call vote, please?
John Moreland,
No.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Jennifer Williams,
No.
Matt Metz,
No.
Owen Crowley.
Yes. Okay, your request for a variance has been denied. We call the next case, please.
Sorry.
You don't have to read the,
Oh, okay, sorry. I call case number BOA 24-100014, property address 411 South 13th Avenue. Motion to consider sections 34-337E1E for 40% lot coverage in lieu of 35% maximum to address nonconformities and for new permeable paver driveway and a pool with coping only to a single family dwelling located at property address 411 South 13th Avenue.
Okay, reminder, each member of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak when we open the public hearing. Does any board member have any ex parte communication?
I've had none.
None.
I've had none.
I've had none.
None.
And I've had none. The applicant, please come forward to be sworn in and give their presentation. Who is going to do?
Yes, we both of us.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
Please state your name and address.
Bob Baker, 9413 Southwest 35th Avenue, Gainesville, Florida.
Deborah Lennox, 411 13th Avenue South, Jacks Beach, Florida.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, just want to say I've lived here for 6 years in Pittsburgh, and I'm already freezing in this room. That says something about how fast your blood comes up. And we are asking for permission, not forgiveness. I'll point that out, not to bring humor to it. I apologize, it's my first variance meeting. And when we turn in the application, I know it comes out to 40%, but you'll have to bear with me because I'm working off the original from the topographical survey. So when we got that back originally from Durban, it came in and we were adding, I think it was like 16 square feet, which was a 0.2%. Debbie's lived there since 2001, I believe, added nothing to the lot. And the original survey we had versus the topo, obviously, as normal, was quite significantly different. But she was already at 44.6 as she was now. So the only thing that was of concern that we talked about when we turned it in is the covered wood deck area. You'll see it up there top right. It is a wooden floor that has over a 1/4 inch gap in the floor. It's dirt underneath of it. So we asked to have that area excluded from the calculation. And her lot does appear to be undersized by approximately 1,000 square feet versus the sector. So with that being covered in there, we're actually reducing her impervious coverage area, just adding coping basically in a fountain. It does say on it, I think it's just a typo, that we were adding a paver driveway. We are not. We're removing what appears to be a little driveway coming in through the gate. Right next to the covered concrete to the right, there are pavers there. And we're removing the pavers off of the fire pit as well to help reduce that coverage as well. So the goal was to get her as low as possible. For 25 years, she's been saving for a swimming pool. But working in the healthcare industry, doesn't feel comfortable in public swimming areas, just wants to get a pool. We try to do everything we could to shrink that down, to minimize her. But we're taking away from where she's at now and dropping her in coverage.
Okay, does any board member have any questions for the applicant?
Can you tell me a little more about the wood deck, where you mentioned that it was a spaced wood deck, but it's listed as covered? Does it have any sort of a roofing over it, or is it?
Yeah,
It's a slanted gazebo.
Yeah, with gutters on it. And
Has gutters.
yeah, and then the floor is just a wood deck, more like a
Like
Trex,
a-
and it's
like
got
a-
a 1/4 inch gap. We turned in pictures with it, of the deck. I don't know if
You
Mr.
said
Joseph.
it's not calculated into the impervious area?
It is.
It is calculated.
It is calculated in there.
Okay.
It's 100%. It's a rather large deck, so we asked to have that removed from the calculation as well, and an allowance for the undersized lot.
Have you spoken to your neighbors?
Actually, yes, my neighbor Jay, who lives right next door, he came over, he got the letter, and he came over and goes, "So what you doing?" And I said, "Just putting a pool in the ground, because we've had one above ground for years, but because of the sea salt, it just eats it up. So I saved and saved to do this for me and my grandkids who live with me." And he's like, "Okay, so when you have your party, I can come?" I said, "Absolutely." So he's happy, and I'm sure you all know him. He's here all the time.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, you can step back. I'll now open the public hearing. Do we have any speakers first?
We have no speaker cards.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience who has not filled out a speaker's card that wishes to speak? No? Okay, I'll now close the public hearing and bring the item back to the board for discussion. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve BOA 24-100014 based on the testimony and evidence provided. The request has met all the standards for a variance as outlined in section 34-286 of the Land Development Code.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I think it's an undersized lot. They're asking for a reasonable coverage amount relative to what a full size would have, and they've obviously done everything they can do to make it accessible by reducing the current coverage.
Absolutely. I think
If
that-
it was a standard lot, would it be 33 or 30%?
And I appreciate the fact that they're taking out pavers to help out their lot coverage issue, which I think
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Jennifer Williams,
Yes.
John Moreland,
Yes.
Matt Metz,
Yes.
Owen Curley.
Yes. Your request for a variance has been approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We call the last case.
Can I have a real quick question real quick on there? I didn't realize this till yesterday. There's a fountain on the back of that pool. I know we go 5 foot of variance to setback off of coping, but the way that fountain's enclosed, it puts it 3.5 foot off of the property line.
Great question, take it up with the
It's
city.
the building
Gotcha.
department, yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, I call case number BOA 24-100015, property address 1305 North 14th Avenue. Motion to consider section 34-336E1C3 for a rear yard setback of 21 feet in lieu of 30 feet. 34-336E1E for 42% lot coverage in lieu of 35% maximum for proposed improvements to a single-family dwelling located at property address 1305 North 14th Avenue.
Okay, as a reminder, each member of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak. Does any board member have any ex parte communication?
I've had none.
None.
I've had none.
I've had none.
None.
And I've had none. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in and give their presentation?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Eric Morris, 1305 14th Avenue North, Jacksonville Beach, Florida.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yes, so basically what we're trying to do is we have a flat roof area of our house and a giant magnolia tree that has ultimately destroyed our foundation. Where the flat roof is, we are looking to do a new gable roof and pour new footers and everything to fix all those issues that we've had with the house there. And the reason for the rear setback request is because our existing house is already protruding beyond that. And we want to run that new gable roof to give us a covered patio area in the back near the pool. And then lot coverage wise, after doing the pool work, we had some pavers moved while we were under construction for the pool. Pavers that we had the rear to the front. So that's showing the proposed. On the other one, I think you have the copy of the survey with that front patio, which put us over that 35%. So we do want to remove what's there and redo it as shown on that survey. But ultimately all that gives us right there about 41%. But I was a little nervous about going 41 and ending up coming back asking for forgiveness.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for the applicant?
I think you answered they said 42 and 41 in the report, so you answered that.
Yeah.
It looks like it said both, so I appreciate that.
Anyone? Okay. You can step back, sir. I'll now open the public hearing. Do we have any speakers cards?
It was his.
Oh,
yes.
He's already spoken.
all right. Is there anyone in the audience who has not filled out a speaker card that wishes to speak? Anyone at all? Okay. If not, I will close the public hearing and bring the item back to the board for discussion. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve BOA 24-100015. Based on the testimony and evidence provided, the request has met all the standards for a variance as outlined in section 3420-286 of the Land Development Code.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Well, it's another undersized lot, but they're not asking for a lot again. It's very minimal.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a lot. It's not land coverage grab.
It is a standard lot, it would be 36%.
Or potentially 35%.
Potentially.
Yeah. So we have that 1% discrepancy.
That's right.
Okay. There's
The
no-
existing structure is already in the rear setback, so I think that is permissible at this point.
Okay, there's no more discussion. Can we have a vote, please?
Todd Smith, Jennifer Williams,
Yes.
John Wallen,
Yes.
Matt Metz,
Yes.
Owen Crowley.
Yes. Your request for variance has been approved. Okay. Okay, next on our agenda is the planning department report.
On Monday, April 22nd, the comp plan will be going to the planning commission. And then, our next meeting will be on May 7th, and we have 2 items.
I will be on that meeting.
May 7th, May 7th.
I'll be gone as well.
And then if y'all are interested, on Monday, the comp plan is going to the planning commission. And then, I don't remember what exact date, but in May, it will be going to the, city council.
Okay, courtesy of